Everyone wants to be unstoppable, but few realize that unstoppable people don't wake up that way. They build it. Every morning, every choice, every habit is a brick in the wall of their success. Every morning is a blank page in the story of your life. The way you begin your day determines the tone of everything that follows. When you wake up late, rush, and start your day in chaos, you don't just lose time, you lose control. But when you wake up with purpose, discipline, and clarity, you set the rhythm for victory. The unstoppable people of this world are not born that way. They are built in the quiet hours of the morning when no one is watching. Those early moments, when the world is silent and your mind is clear, are sacred. That's when decisions are made that define your day, and eventually your destiny. Winning your morning is not about waking up early just for the sake of it. It's about waking up with direction, intention, and gratitude. The secret of the morning is ownership. Most people wake up and immediately hand over control to notifications, to messages, to problems. They wake up reacting instead of creating. But the unstoppable person does the opposite. They take command of the morning. They don't reach for their phone. They reach for their vision. They spend the first minutes of their day feeding their mind with calmness and clarity. Maybe through meditation, journaling, reading, or simply sitting in silence. The form doesn't matter. What matters is presence. Because those first 20 minutes of your morning can decide whether you'll lead the day or be led by it. The morning is the rehearsal for success. And every great performance starts with a strong rehearsal. Your morning habits are a reflection of your mindset. If your first thought every day is stress, your body will follow. If your first thought is gratitude, your mind opens to possibilities. Gratitude is one of the most powerful morning rituals. Before checking the world, unstoppable people check themselves. What they're thankful for, what they're working toward, and what kind of energy they want to carry through the day. When you start with appreciation, you stop living in frustration. Gratitude rewires the brain to see opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of stress. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about rising above them with the right mindset. A grateful heart in the morning becomes an unstoppable engine through the day. There's also a physical dimension to winning the morning. Movement is not just for the body, it's for the mind. Exercise, stretching, even a short walk, it tells your brain that you are awake, alive, and ready. Science confirms what successful people have always known: physical motion creates emotional momentum. When your body moves, your confidence rises, your focus sharpens, and your energy expands. That's why unstoppable people rarely start the day sitting still. They get the blood flowing, they breathe deeply, and they prepare their body for the battles ahead. You don't need a gym to do this, you just need commitment. 10 minutes of motion in the morning can be worth more than an hour of motivation videos later in the day. Because nothing changes your mindset faster than movement. Winning your morning is also about planning. Not the complicated kind, but the intentional kind. The unstoppable person doesn't let the day just happen. They write down their top priorities. They decide what truly matters, not just what's urgent. They don't drown in to-do lists. They focus on a few key victories that will move them closer to their goal. When you plan your day, you're not controlling time, you're creating it. You remove the chaos of uncertainty and replace it with clarity. Most people waste energy trying to figure out what to do next. Unstoppable people already know, because they took 10 minutes in the morning to set their direction. Remember, a day without a plan is like a ship without a compass. No matter how strong the wind, it goes nowhere meaningful. And finally, winning your morning is about protecting your energy. The unstoppable person doesn't let anyone steal it. They don't start the day with negative news, arguments, or distractions. They guard their focus like a treasure, because they know that the morning energy is pure. It's the cleanest, most creative energy of the day. Once it's wasted, it's gone. So instead of giving it away, they invest it in learning, thinking, building, or simply reflecting. They know that how they treat the first hour after waking up is how the world will treat them back. If you give your morning to chaos, the day will return it in kind. But if you give it to calmness, discipline, and purpose, the day will reward you with power, productivity, and peace. So remember, being unstoppable isn't about big wins, lucky breaks, or perfect circumstances. It's about mastering small moments, starting with the first one every single day. The morning is your mirror. It reflects who you are becoming. If you win that first hour, you've already beaten 90% of the world, not because you're better, but because you decided to start before everyone else. The morning doesn't belong to the talented, the rich, or the lucky. It belongs to the disciplined. And those who win it, win everything that follows. Everyone wants fast success. Everyone wants to wake up one morning and see everything fall perfectly into place. Wealth, recognition, peace. But here's the truth that separates the unstoppable from the average. Success doesn't arrive overnight. It's built quietly, brick by brick, day after day. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They chase intensity, the big moments, the grand gestures, the bursts of effort that look impressive, but they ignore the true power that lies in being consistent. Because intensity excites people, but consistency transforms them. Think of the strongest rivers in the world. They don't shape valleys because of one massive flood. They shape them through steady, unbroken flow. That's what consistency does. It carves your future slowly, silently, but permanently. One drop at a time, one step at a time, one decision at a time. The problem with most people is that they start fast but stop early. They burn with enthusiasm for a week and quit when it gets hard. They post their goals, they announce their dreams, but when no one's clapping, they stop performing. The unstoppable, on the other hand, don't rely on applause. They rely on habit. Their motivation may fade, but their discipline never does. They show up, whether it rains or shines, whether they feel ready or not, because they know that progress hides inside repetition. Consistency is not about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it even when it's not perfect. You won't always have the same energy, mood, or confidence, but what matters is that you still move forward. You still do something. One small action done daily beats 1,000 great ideas never executed. Many people wait for the perfect time, the perfect motivation, the perfect setup, the perfect mindset. But that's the trap. There is no perfect time. There's only now. And when you act consistently, you teach your brain a powerful lesson. I can depend on myself. That self-trust is the foundation of unstoppable confidence. Because once your mind believes that you will show up, no matter what, everything else starts falling into place. The magic of consistency is that it multiplies quietly. You don't see the results immediately, and that's why most people give up. They go to the gym for 2 weeks and see no difference. They study for a month and still struggle. They start a business and the numbers barely move. But what they don't realize is that consistency is like planting seeds. You don't see the roots growing, but they are deep under the surface. The real growth happens in silence, long before it becomes visible. One day, the results appear suddenly, and people call it luck. But it's not luck. It's the reward of unseen effort. The unstoppable understand this invisible stage. They respect it. They keep showing up because they know that every small action, no matter how insignificant it looks today, is building their future behind the scenes. But here's something deeper. Consistency also builds identity. Every time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you strengthen your belief in who you are. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I do. You move from, I want to be disciplined, to, I am disciplined. The action becomes part of your character. And once your actions match your identity, success becomes inevitable. You no longer fight against yourself, you flow with yourself. That's why unstoppable people don't need to fake motivation. Their habits carry them. They've turned effort into nature. For them, consistency isn't a chore, it's who they are. Now understand this, consistency will test your patience. It will feel boring. It will feel slow. There will be days when nothing seems to change, when results hide behind frustration. That's the moment most people quit, right before the breakthrough. But the unstoppable endure it. They understand that boredom is part of mastery. They know that excitement starts the journey, but patience finishes it. They remind themselves that repetition is not failure. Repetition is refinement. Every single day that you show up, you're sharpening your skills, toughening your spirit, and proving your worth, not to others, but to yourself. Because the true prize of consistency is not success, it's strength. So if you want to become unstoppable, forget chasing motivation, build consistency. Wake up, take one step forward, repeat. Don't let the scale, the statistics or the scoreboard discourage you. Focus on the process, not the applause. Trust the compound effect of your actions. A small positive habit repeated every day is more powerful than 1,000 dreams that never leave your notebook. Remember, it's better to take 10 small steps daily than one giant leap that leaves you exhausted. The world doesn't remember who started fast. It remembers who never stopped. Be that person, the one who keeps showing up day after day, long after others have given up. Because when the noise fades and the excitement dies, it's consistency that remains. And it's that quiet, unshakable rhythm that makes a person truly unstoppable. Your mind is your most valuable asset, more powerful than money, luck, or connections. It is the command center of your entire life. Everything you build, everything you break, everything you become, it starts in your mind. Yet most people guard their wallets more than their thoughts. They protect their phones with passwords, but leave their minds open to anything that enters. The truth is simple. If you want to live an unstoppable life, you must feed your mind with intention, because your mind is like a garden. What you plant grows, what you neglect dies, and what you allow in without care will eventually choke the flowers with weeds. Every single day, your environment, the news, social media, and conversations are feeding your mind, whether you realize it or not. The question is, what are you allowing inside? Are you feeding your mind with fear, doubt, and gossip? Or are you feeding it with courage, curiosity, and knowledge? Because your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. You cannot think small and live big. You cannot fill your mind with negativity and expect peace. You cannot surround yourself with meaningless noise and expect clarity. The unstoppable know this truth deeply. To rise above the ordinary, they must guard and grow their inner world relentlessly. They treat their mind like a muscle that needs daily training, not occasional attention. Think of it this way. Your body needs food every day to stay alive, but your mind needs learning every day to stay strong. The moment you stop feeding it, it begins to weaken. Reading, listening, and thinking are mental workouts. Every book, podcast, or meaningful conversation adds another layer of strength to your thoughts. It doesn't matter how busy you are. 15 minutes of focused reading can shift your perspective. The greatest achievers in history had one habit in common. They were lifelong learners. They never assumed they knew enough. They didn't let success make them arrogant or failure make them blind. They stayed curious. Curious about people, about the world, about themselves. Curiosity keeps the mind young and open. It's the hunger for knowledge that keeps the unstoppable person moving forward while others get stuck in comfort. But feeding your mind doesn't only mean consuming information. It also means filtering what you consume. Not everything deserves your attention. Your mental energy is limited, and you must protect it fiercely. Every piece of gossip, every angry argument online, every comparison on social media, they are mental junk food. They fill your brain with clutter, leaving no space for creativity and peace. Unstoppable people don't waste their attention on distractions that add no value to their goals. They understand that focus is power, and they spend their attention like they spend their money, carefully and with purpose. So before you read, watch, or listen to something, ask yourself, will this help me grow, or will it drain me? Because what you feed your mind today determines who you become tomorrow. Another way to feed your mind is through reflection. Learning is not just about collecting information, it's about connecting it. Every day teaches you something, but only reflection turns experiences into wisdom. Spend time thinking about what went right, what went wrong, and what could be improved. Write it down. Talk it out. Let your mind digest what it's learned. When you reflect, you don't just go through life, you grow through life. The unstoppable don't rush from one day to the next without learning from the last. They pause, analyze, and adjust. That's why they evolve faster, because they turn every mistake into a manual, every challenge into a chapter, and every success into a lesson. And never underestimate the power of the people you surround yourself with. Conversations are a form of mental food too. Sit with people who talk about ideas, not just people. Spend time with those who challenge your thinking, not those who limit it. Energy transfers. If you constantly engage with people who complain, you'll find your mind becoming heavy. But if you engage with people who create, who inspire, who believe, your mind expands. The unstoppable are intentional about their circle because they know that mental energy is contagious. Every discussion, every debate, every exchange of ideas is an opportunity to sharpen your thinking and expand your world. Finally, feeding your mind daily is about vision. When you nourish your mind with positive, empowering thoughts, you train it to see possibilities instead of problems. Your mindset becomes your compass. You start to attract what you believe you deserve. You begin to act not from fear but from purpose. The more you feed your mind with growth, the less it hungers for approval. You no longer need validation from others. Your inner strength becomes enough. That's when you become unstoppable. When your thoughts align with your goals and your learning becomes your lifestyle. Remember, your mind is the factory of your future. Feed it daily. Feed it wisely, and it will feed your dreams in return. Failure, the word everyone fears, yet the experience everyone faces. It's the universal teacher that most people try to run from. But the unstoppable don't run from failure. They walk toward it, learn from it, and let it sharpen them. Because they understand something simple, but profound. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the foundation of it. You cannot grow without falling, and you cannot become great without learning from the moments that broke you. Every failure is a classroom disguised as pain. The question is not, will I fail? The question is, what will I do after I fail? The world celebrates success, but it rarely shows the 1,000 failures that built it. Behind every victory lies a series of defeats, unseen, unspoken, but unforgettable. Failure tests your courage in ways comfort never can. It strips away your ego, exposes your weaknesses, and forces you to face the truth about who you are. It hurts, yes, but pain is not your enemy. Pain is proof that you're trying. Failure whispers lessons that success never teaches. When you fail, life is simply saying, you're not there yet, but you're learning how to get there. That mindset, seeing failure as feedback, not finality, is what separates the unstoppable from the ordinary. Most people let failure define them. They fail once and start believing they're not good enough. They allow one rejection, one mistake, or one setback to shape their entire identity. But unstoppable people refuse to let failure write their story. They understand that failure only becomes permanent when you stop trying. They treat every setback like a teacher. They study it, analyze it, and use it to prepare for their comeback. They ask powerful questions. What did this teach me? What will I do differently next time? They see patterns, not punishment. They understand that life doesn't break you. It builds you if you let it. Every disappointment, every delay, every door that closes is simply redirecting you toward the path you were meant to take. Failure also teaches humility, a rare and priceless trait. When you fail, you're forced to face your limits. You realize you don't have all the answers. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. The unstoppable know that admitting mistakes doesn't make them small. It makes them stronger. They listen, they learn, and they evolve. Humility keeps them open to growth. It allows them to learn from anyone, a mentor, a competitor, or even a critic. Because when your mind is open, every failure becomes a stepping stone. But when your ego is high, every failure feels like a wall. That's why some people repeat the same mistakes, not because they're unlucky, but because they refuse to listen to the lessons failure and to teach. There's also a hidden beauty in failure. It builds resilience. Each time you fall and rise again, you become mentally tougher. You start to realize that the worst didn't destroy you, it developed you. You begin to trust yourself in hard times because you've seen yourself survive them before. That's how confidence is built. Not from comfort, but from recovery. The unstoppable don't avoid failure, they prepare for it. They build systems, habits, and mindsets that help them bounce back quickly. They know that resilience is not about avoiding storms, but about learning how to dance in the rain. Every scar becomes a story of strength. Every loss a lesson in patience. Every challenge a reminder that you are stronger than you think. But perhaps the most powerful lesson failure teaches is perspective. Sometimes, when things fall apart, they're actually falling into place. A door closes, and you think it's the end, but later you realize it was just redirecting you toward a better door. Many of the greatest breakthroughs in life are born from breakdowns. Failure removes the distractions, the illusions, and the noise, leaving only what truly matters. It teaches gratitude for small wins, patience for slow progress, and faith in long journeys. The unstoppable don't curse failure. They thank it, because every mistake, every rejection, every painful detour is preparing them for something greater than they imagined. And remember, this failure doesn't destroy dreams. Giving up does. The world is full of people who quit one step before the breakthrough. They let the pain of today blind them from the promise of tomorrow. But the unstoppable person keeps walking, even when the path is dark. They carry the lessons of every loss like tools for their next climb. They understand that life will test you again and again, but each test you pass prepares you for the next level. So when you fail, and you will, don't see it as defeat. See it as data. See it as direction. Because failure is not the end of your story. It's the turning point that makes the story worth telling. Your environment is more powerful than your intentions. You can have big dreams, sharp plans, and endless motivation. But if you're surrounded by people who drain your energy, your fire will fade. Energy is invisible, but it shapes everything you do. It's in your conversations, your company, your habits, and your atmosphere. The unstoppable understand this truth deeply. You cannot fly if you're surrounded by those who refuse to leave the ground. The people around you are either your wings or your weight. That's why one of the greatest secrets to success is simple: protect your circle. Because your circle becomes your reality. Every conversation you have is a transfer of energy. Sit with someone who complains, and soon you'll feel your optimism weaken. Spend an hour with someone who believes, and suddenly your mind starts to dream bigger. Energy is contagious. It moves silently from person to person, shaping your mood, your focus, and even your ambition. That's why the unstoppable are deliberate about who they allow into their mental space. They don't waste time explaining their vision to people who don't want to understand. They spend it with those who challenge them to think deeper, act faster, and aim higher. They seek out doers, not doubters, dreamers, not destroyers. Because they know that if you spend enough time around small minds, your vision will start to shrink to fit their comfort. You see, excuses are like a virus. They spread fast. Be around people who always have a reason why things can't work, and soon you'll find yourself repeating the same reasons. Be around people who see possibilities instead of problems, and your entire outlook begins to change. The unstoppable avoid excuse makers because they understand that excuses are just comfortable lies that protect mediocrity. Excuse makers will tell you why it's too risky, too late, or too hard. But energy givers, the right kind of people, will remind you why it's possible. They'll fuel your belief when your own confidence flickers. They'll challenge your laziness when you want to rest too early. And most importantly, they'll mirror the strength you sometimes forget you have. But this truth isn't only about others, it's about you. To attract positive energy, you must be positive energy. You can't expect to be surrounded by uplifting, focused, disciplined people if your own energy is filled with negativity and complaint. The unstoppable don't just seek energy, they create it. They walk into a room and raise the vibration through enthusiasm, focus, and gratitude. Their energy is their signature: confident, calm, determined. They take responsibility for the atmosphere they bring, because they know that energy is like a boomerang. Whatever you send out eventually returns. If you want a stronger circle, start by being the strongest energy in it. Surrounding yourself with energy, not excuses, also means learning to walk away, and that takes courage. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay forever. Some people were chapters, not the whole book. The unstoppable understand that growth requires separation. You can love people and still outgrow them. You can respect someone and still decide they no longer align with your path. Walking away doesn't mean arrogance. It means awareness. It means you value your peace more than their approval. It means you'd rather be alone with focus than surrounded by friends who feed your doubt. The truth is, not everyone can handle your growth, and that's okay. Your job is not to shrink so they feel comfortable. It's to rise so you can inspire from above. And when you find the right people, protect them. The ones who celebrate your success, who challenge your excuses, who stand beside you when the crowd disappears, those people are rare. The unstoppable don't compete with their circle, they collaborate. They share ideas, resources, and energy freely. They understand that true success is never built alone. They know that a strong team multiplies strength and divides struggle. When one person rises, everyone rises. That's how powerful energy works. It doesn't just lift you, it lifts everyone it touches. And when your environment is built on mutual growth, accountability, and shared vision, failure becomes temporary and victory becomes inevitable. Finally, surrounding yourself with energy, not excuses, is about designing an ecosystem that inspires you daily. It's not only about people. It's about what you read, what you watch, what you listen to. Everything you consume either adds to your energy or steals it. Fill your world with things that make you think bigger, move faster, and feel stronger. Decorate your space with reminders of your goals. Follow creators and leaders who push you toward excellence, not comfort. Replace gossip with learning, distraction with discipline, and negativity with progress. Because your environment isn't just where you live. It's what you allow to live in you. So remember, your energy is your greatest currency. Spend it wisely. Protect it fiercely. Because in the end, success is not only about skill, intelligence, or luck. It's about the energy you bring and the energy you keep. The unstoppable don't just find power in themselves. They find it in their surroundings. They build circles that challenge them, support them, and push them higher. They understand that no one becomes great alone, and no one stays great surrounded by excuses. Choose your energy, choose your people, choose your future. Success is a strange thing. It has the power to lift you up or to blind you completely. For many people, the moment they achieve something, they stop growing. They start believing they've arrived. But the unstoppable know a different truth. Success is never a destination, it's a direction. The day you think you've made it is the day you start falling behind. That's why they live by one powerful principle: stay humble, stay hungry. Because humility keeps you teachable and hunger keeps you moving. Together, they form the unstoppable balance between confidence and curiosity. Humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking beyond yourself. It means understanding that no matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. No matter how far you've come, there's still another level waiting. The humble don't walk with arrogance. They walk with awareness. They remember what it took to get here, the failures, the sacrifices, the late nights, and they never look down on those who are still on their way. They understand that success is temporary, but character is permanent. And character grows only in the soil of humility. The moment pride takes over, growth stops. Pride whispers, "I've done enough." Humility says, "There's always more to learn." That's the voice that keeps the unstoppable grounded, even when they're flying high. But humility alone isn't enough. Hunger must follow. Hunger is the fire that fuels progress. It's that quiet restlessness inside you that refuses to settle, that constant voice that says, "I can do better." Hunger doesn't mean dissatisfaction. It means drive. It's what pushes you to improve when no one's watching. It's what makes you study harder, work longer, and dream bigger. Not because someone's forcing you to, but because you refuse to waste your potential. The unstoppable wake up every day with hunger, not for fame or money, but for mastery. They're not chasing success, they're chasing improvement. And that hunger keeps them alive while others fall asleep in comfort. The danger of success is comfort. Once you start getting recognition, it's easy to relax, to stop learning, to stop experimenting, to stop growing. Comfort whispers, "You've earned this. Take it easy." But ease is the enemy of excellence. The unstoppable know that yesterday's victories won't win tomorrow's battles. They stay humble enough to admit they don't know everything, and hungry enough to keep searching for better ways. They understand that the world is changing every day. And if you stop evolving, you start fading. So instead of celebrating for too long, they celebrate, then get back to work. Because success isn't maintained by what you did. It's maintained by what you continue to do. Staying humble and hungry also means staying connected to your purpose. When you remember why you started, you never lose your direction. Too many people start with passion, but get lost in pride. They start doing things to impress others instead of to improve themselves. But the unstoppable keep their purpose at the center. Their hunger comes from mission, not ego. Their humility comes from gratitude, not fear. They understand that their work isn't just about them. It's about the value they bring to others. When your goals are bigger than yourself, your hunger never dies because your purpose never ends. That's what makes humility and hunger so powerful together. One keeps you grounded, the other keeps you growing. Another secret of the humble and hungry is their ability to listen. When you think you know everything, you stop hearing new ideas. But when you stay humble, every person becomes a teacher. The unstoppable can learn from anyone, a mentor, a rival, even a mistake. They ask questions instead of giving speeches. They listen more than they talk. They never let success build walls around their curiosity. And when they receive feedback, they don't feel attacked. They feel sharpened. Because humility turns feedback into fuel, and hunger turns that fuel into action. Together, they create unstoppable momentum. Finally, humility and hunger create legacy. Fame fades, money moves, and titles are forgotten. But the impact you make through humility and hunger remains. People remember not just what you achieved, but how you achieved it. The unstoppable live in such a way that others feel inspired, not intimidated. They lead not by shouting louder, but by working harder. Their hunger drives them to do more. Their humility ensures they do it with grace. They never forget where they came from, and they never stop reaching for what's ahead. They remain students of life, always learning, always giving, always growing. So stay humble enough to keep learning and hungry enough to keep climbing. Celebrate your progress, but never settle. Be grateful for what you have, but never stop striving for what you can become. Because humility will keep your feet on the ground, and hunger will keep your eyes on the stars. That's the balance of the unstoppable. Calm in confidence, fierce in pursuit, grounded in gratitude, and forever hungry for growth. Remember this truth. Success isn't about reaching the top. It's about staying hungry enough to keep climbing higher, no matter how high you've already gone. So, what truly makes a person unstoppable? It's not luck, it's not talent, and it's not some secret formula that only a few know. It's the small, simple habits done every single day that quietly shape your destiny. It's waking up with purpose when the world is still asleep. It's choosing consistency when excitement fades. It's feeding your mind when others are feeding their doubts. It's learning from every failure, surrounding yourself with energy that lifts you higher, and walking with humility while staying hungry for more. Becoming unstoppable doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in 1,000 small ones that no one sees. The discipline to start when you're tired. The courage to continue when you're scared. The faith to rise after every fall. These moments build you. They turn ordinary people into extraordinary forces. Because being unstoppable isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. And remember, your habits don't just shape your day. They shape your destiny. If you master the small, you'll conquer the great. Every great dream begins with one decision, one step, one consistent action. Don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. Don't wait for motivation. Build it through motion. You don't have to be the strongest, the smartest, or the fastest. You just have to keep moving when others stop. Look at your life right now. Your goals, your dreams, your challenges. You already have everything inside you to rise above them. The power, the potential, the purpose. It's already there. You just have to activate it through your daily habits. So tomorrow, when you wake up, remind yourself, the person I'm becoming depends on the choices I make today. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay consistent. Feed your mind, protect your energy, and never stop learning from your failures. Because if you do these things, not once, not sometimes, but every single day, you'll become more than successful. You'll become unstoppable.